So some of you may know that the audible frequency range for the human ear is 20 Hz to 20 kHz. And even that changes as you age because you tend to lose hearing in the upper range of frequencies over time. We typically split that frequency range into lows, mids and highs, right? But any sound signal can in theory carry the entire range. So how does a speaker know what frequencies are sent to which driver? I'm going to break that down for you in this video. As I've talked about earlier in other videos, there are different drivers for different jobs because different parts of the frequency range have different requirements. A tweeter, for example, produces high frequencies. Say something like, let's pick a number like 16 Hz. What 16 Hz means is that the tweeter needs to vibrate 16,000 times a second, i.e. extremely fast. On the other end of the spectrum, a 100 Hz signal means the driver only needs to move 100 times a second, and that's what the woofer does, but it needs to push out a lot of air so you can feel that thump. Right? So that's why we have different drivers for different frequencies. A tweeter, for example, in order to vibrate 16,000 times a second, cannot be very large. So a tweeter needs to be small, but a woofer needs to be big to push out the air required for low frequencies. There are two fundamental types of speaker designs. There are many more nuances, but broadly, we can divide speakers into two categories. The first category of speaker is a two-way speaker, and as the name suggests, it has two drivers. One driver for the highs and the high mids, and one driver for the lows and the low mids. Exactly what frequency band goes where is decided from speaker to speaker. That's a two-way speaker. The second type of speaker is a three-way speaker where there are three different drivers. A tweeter for the high frequencies, a mid-range driver for the mids or typically the vocal range, and a low frequency driver for bass. And before I go into crossovers, many people ask me what's better, a two-way or a three-way? And my answer is always have a listen and see what you prefer, because both designs have advantages and disadvantages. For example, three-way speaker has two crossovers, and so there are two dips in the frequency curve, but by giving dedicated drivers for each frequency range, they can in theory sound better. A two-way speaker requires more careful design of the drivers because each driver is covering more of the spectrum, but because there's only one crossover, there's only one dip in the frequency curve. But all this is theory. We always say, come in, have a listen, don't go by specs, don't go by designs, go home with what you love listening to. And that's how you'll enjoy your speaker for many years to come.